Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into how a Paris-based startup called Open Tools is literally flipping the hardware landscape on its head. We're looking at a brand new device they're simply calling the Open Printer. It's a machine aiming to completely rethink how we interact with what is, let's be honest, easily the most notoriously frustrating piece of technology sitting in our homes and offices.
I mean, think about it. For years, we've just kind of accepted this status quo where printers seem inherently designed to fail, or at the absolute very least, designed to just continuously drain our wallets. You know the feeling. Well, today, we're going to look at how the Open Printer is stepping up as the potential hero we've all been waiting for to finally break us out of this endless cycle.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the modern printer trap, move into introducing the Open Printer, check out the architecture under the hood, explore its flexible hardware and formats, and wrap up with its open-source philosophy.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the modern printer trap, consumables and planned obsolescence.
To really appreciate what Open Tools is pulling off here, look at this stark contrast between the legacy model and the open model. The traditional market is completely driven by consumable lock-in. We're talking proprietary chips, encrypted firmware, and non-standard parts that literally force you to keep buying from them or completely throw the unit away. The big companies use digital rights management, or DRM, to authenticate genuine cartridges, and they'll actually disable your machine if you try a third-party alternative. It's wild, but the open model, it flips this entirely. It offers a repairable architecture, standard parts, and a natively refillable system. It is like night and day.
So moving to Section 2, enter the Open Printer, which is a true hardware paradigm shift.
This is where it gets really good. The absolute most crucial point about this machine is that it does not punish you for using third-party or refillable ink. There are zero proprietary drivers, no firmware locks, and absolutely no cartridge DRM. What a relief, right? Instead, it uses widely available standard cartridges, the HP63 in the US or the HP302 in Europe. And if you want to refill, Open Tools has a system called InkKit, with standard bottles of black, magenta, cyan, and yellow ink. Oh, and it doesn't sacrifice quality either. You're still getting 600 DPI for black and white and 1200 DPI for color. You are finally entirely in control.
On top of that, the physical design is just incredibly versatile. It's got a super compact footprint, less than 20 inches wide, so it adapts right to your workspace. You could sit it flat on a desk, or, and this is pretty cool, use a kit to mount it on your wall. It ends up looking almost like this sleek, futuristic paper towel dispenser. It proves that robust, modular hardware really doesn't have to be big and clunky.
All right, Section 3, architecture under the hood, processing and connectivity. Let's dig into the actual tech specs here.
What is genuinely fascinating to me here is how they are using off-the-shelf standard components to do all the heavy lifting. The main brain of this printer? It's actually just a humble Raspberry Pi Zero W. That hooks up to an STM32 microcontroller that manages the cartridges. For the interface, you get this neat little 1.47-inch LCD screen paired with a jogger wheel, and it is fully connected. You've got USB-C, USB-A for mass storage, plus Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.1 for wireless printing. It is literally a tinkerer's dream.
But hardware is only half the story. To understand how it prints without any of those terrible proprietary drivers, we got to talk about CUPS. That stands for the Common Unix Printing System. It's a standards-based, open-source printing system developed by Apple, and it uses a protocol called IPP Everywhere to handle local and network printers.
And because the Open Printer registers as a standard CUPS printer, you get a completely driver-free experience. Seriously, no CD-ROMs, no sketchy download links. It is totally OS agnostic, working natively right out of the box with Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, and iOS. CUPS handles everything in the background: network discovery, the print queue, color calibration, the whole shebang. It makes cross-platform printing incredibly seamless for anyone on your network.
Next is Section 4, flexible hardware and formats, media handling and ink freedom. Take a look at this specific dimension, 27 millimeters. Keep that number in mind because that is the width of the supported continuous paper rolls that you can mount right onto this printer. While you can use standard sheets of paper, this roll support completely changes the game for what a desktop printer can actually do.
So how does this work in reality? Switching the media out is just a super simple mechanical process. You pop out the flexible roller system, drop in either your standard sheets or that 27mm paper roll, and snap the retention clips back on. And if you're using the roll, the printer has an integrated auto cutter. This means you can let the machine automatically segment the roll to print customized long-format banners or continuous strips without ever having to manually sit there with scissors trimming them yourself.
And alongside that media flexibility, you get total freedom over your ink. Want to just run a single black cartridge for deep, rich text? Go for it. Single color cartridge? Yep. Both together? Of course. But the absolute best part? There are 0 software lockouts. This puts a permanent, deeply satisfying end to that infuriating moment when your printer refuses to print a simple black and white text document just because your yellow ink happens to be empty. Say goodbye to the blinking yellow light of death.
Okay, bringing us home with Section 5, the open source philosophy, licensing and future-proofing.
The design files for the Open Printer use a Creative Commons BYNC SA 4.0 license, which perfectly lays out what users and makers can and can't do. First, attribution. You've got to give appropriate credit to open tools. Second, non-commercial. You can't just take these files, build your own commercial printers, and sell them for profit. And third, share alike. If you remix or build upon their hardware, you absolutely must distribute your new version under this exact same license.
And what this means in practice is just phenomenal for the community. The mechanical files, the electronics, the bill of materials, they are all shared openly. You are explicitly encouraged to go and 3D print your own plastic replacement parts or custom shells. Firmware updates are going to follow standard open source repo cycles. And interestingly, Open Tools did file patents and design registrations for the machine. But actually scratch that. It's not to lock it down. It's specifically done to protect the open architecture from patent trolls and ensure their design work is recognized, while keeping the whole project entirely open to the community.
The press is definitely taking notice of how much value there is in ditching the traditional hardware trap. The tech publication Geeks Are Sexy really hit the nail on the head, calling it, quote, finally, a printer that won't stab you in the back or in the wallet. I mean, we've all been there, right? That sentiment resonates deeply with basically anyone who has ever owned a desktop printer.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder. We've just seen how standard components like a Raspberry Pi, paired with open-source software like Cups and a fully transparent mechanical design, can completely revolutionize the most restrictive product category in our homes. If we can successfully liberate the desktop printer from planned obsolescence and DRM, what everyday tool should we open source next? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep exploring.